Hi, I'm Joe Saunders of Miniature Landscape Hobbies, and in this episode, we're going to visit Little Canada. We've been here once before, but they've opened plenty of new exhibits. Let's go in and take a look around.
Miniature Landscape Hobbies is proudly supported by these sponsors. I hear you asking, what's going on here, Joe? You run a historical miniature building and painting tutorial channel, not a tourist destination blog. And of course, this is absolutely true. But like all artists, periodically I need a dose of inspiration. Fortunately for me, I live close to Little Canada, which is a huge miniature spread that's in downtown Toronto. This impressive display is open to the public, and it's just simply awesome. Here you'll find a model of Canada that spans from our coast to coast, and encompasses thousands of square feet. The whole thing is rendered in 1/87 scale, which is HO scale, and it showcases a breadth of miniature building skills, the likes of which I've never seen before. So when I'm looking for inspiration, I head to Little Canada and take it all in. I always leave with my creative juices flowing. It also makes a fun day for an outing for the whole family. In this video, I'm going to present my video tour of the facility at Little Canada. This way, if you're ever thinking of going, you'll know what to expect. With that said though, you should just simply bite the bullet and go. You won't be disappointed. Let's get to the tour. The first exhibit you see is the Niagara Falls Diorama. But calling it a diorama would be a mistake. It's really more of a room. The exhibit wraps around the edges. The most jaw-dropping element has to be the large falls, including the Horseshoe portion. Everything is a combination of video and projection with carefully synchronized sound. It's immersive and awesome. Even the Maid of the Mist is present, touring at the foot of the Cascades. As you move on, you reach the kitschy but fun downtown area on the Canadian side of the falls. One thing to watch out for is nightfall. The lighting imitates the sunset, and since most models are wired with LEDs, it creates an impressive sight.
Fun little things we like to try to hide from everyone, like you see the broccoli just kind of hidden among the trees there. Just little fun Easter eggs here and there. We try to make a fun little spot.
Last time we were here, my film of this was almost better, and I really like this section.
You guys good?
After visiting Niagara Falls and the surrounding region, you reach Toronto. Again, you have tons of characterful details here. Of particular interest is the Old City Hall in Toronto. It's a stunning model, apparently mostly 3D printed. I've never seen custom work in HO scale with this much attention to detail.
Oh my god, look, they're filming handmaids too.
Yeah,
Jack has never been here.
There's a little Canada. What is this? And look, they're miniaturized.
As you near the end of the Toronto portion, you come to the Sky Dome, complete with working roof.
Well, that's the Indigenous Relations on the water, basically.
Like in the real world, the CN Tower is nearby as well. Moving on, we come to the western side of the city and encounter all the various modes of transportation that radiate outward to the rest of Canada from Toronto.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Here you'll also see a procession on Canada's Highway of Heroes. Now you come to an area referred to as the Golden Horseshoe, and this is composed of many different cities and towns, and it's also Canada's industrial heartland. To evoke this, there are some very impressive train networks and boats on display. There's also the iconic Hamilton Iron Works. I love industrial themed models, so I lingered here for quite a while, collecting ideas for my own work. Next is Canada's capital, Ottawa. More cityscapes greet you, along with a very detailed model of the famous Chateau Laurier.
Have you folks had a chance to see the fireworks?
Each of the different artists that work at Little Canada have done their own characterful room. Many of them are themed, and some are just really cool.
And then 3, 4. Yeah, 4.
Once night falls, you get a spectacular show projected onto the Parliament buildings, followed up by fireworks. In my opinion, this is particularly cool. I've never seen anything like this rendered into miniature before. Headed east, now we reach Quebec and Quebec City. As is only appropriate in a Canadian display, the season here changes to winter. Winter sports are a major feature, And as Quebec is known for spectacular skiing, there are some suitably impressive models of ski hills, including a cozy ski lodge. Further along, you come to Quebec City, where you're greeted by some more spectacular cityscapes. Here you'll also see a completely amazing model of the iconic Chateau Frontenac. This hotel is huge. Old Quebec is also depicted, with its fort walls and landmarks that evoke a deep sense of history and French-Canadian heritage. Ice and snow effects are probably second only to water effects when it comes to difficulty for model builders. So here we naturally see an example of both, with a really impressive bridge to boot. Now we're at Canada's East Coast, and once again, the seasonal effects change, this time to fall. This adds a fun splash of color for the viewer. Canada's East Coast is known for three things: its scenic, rugged shoreline, inviting, quaint communities, and its maritime heritage. In this exhibit, you get an impressive mixture of all of this. Several vibrant towns and cities are shown, with plenty of activity to tell tiny but visually engaging stories. As is befitting of the region, boats, harbors, and marinas are everywhere. There's also quite a few interesting indicators of just how important the fishing industry is in the area. The Bay of Fundy has the highest tides in the world, so this is depicted in miniature too, in this case using real water. With so many bays and coves, the landforms are extremely inspiring. Naturally, this means that navigation hazards abound, so models of lighthouses are represented in huge numbers. This isn't only cool to see in the daylight, but when the sun goes down, it makes for some excellent lighting effects. The East Coast was the final exhibit that was open at Little Canada when my family visited. Fortunately, there are many more planned for the future, so we're sure to go back for more coverage. One thing I'd like to point out is that there are just too many little stories unfolding in the various miniature spreads to capture, and there are many ingenious uses of technology and art that have to be seen to be believed. So, if you're a miniature, model train, or diorama enthusiast, you really must take the time to check Little Canada out. I guarantee that you'll have a ton of fun, and when you get back home, you'll have enough inspiration to keep you building and painting for some time. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with more miniature, wargaming, and diorama building content. So until then, remember to keep building life in miniature.